Hey, what's going on, guys? Brandon here with Texas Plinking Gear, and I am pretty excited for this video, which is odd to say because we're talking about this guy right here, a micro compact 9mm for everyday carry. Specifically, it's a Smith Wesson CSX. Why has this one got me excited, and why am I so pumped to get my first range impressions with it, which will all be on this video? Well, I don't typically do tabletop reviews, but in this case I think we're going to, because this is the gear channel and there's quite a bit to talk about. Let's go ahead and put this thing on the bench. So why am I so excited to talk about a micro compact 9mm? Well, in case you guys don't know me too well, let me introduce myself. I really like the 1911 and anything like a 1911. Not saying this is one or even too similar to it, but it's got a couple good highlights. So we'll start off with the big heavy hitters in my opinion. As you can see, it is hammer fire. It's also single action only. There is no decocker and this and that. It's not a striker fire. It's just a very crisp trigger break like you would find in a 1911. It's also got an aluminum frame. So we've got a metal frame, no polymer here, except for, of course, the swappable backstrap. We'll talk about that. But nonetheless, you have an all metal gun with a single action only trigger pull. So yeah, right away, I'm a big fan of it. Of course, you also have a double stack magazine, and we'll go ahead and talk about the different offerings there as well. But running along with the 1911-ish themes, you have a safety mounted right here, so nice and familiar, and it is ambidextrous. The safety is just about perfect. It's this tiny little nub, so it's not in your way, yet it's still super easy to activate, and it's nice and tactile. It takes the perfect amount of effort to do so, in my opinion, so I really like the safety. Continuing with the ambidextrous theme, you have their slide release on both sides. We would expect it to be on the left, like a 1911, but also on the right. Pretty darn cool, which of course can be put upwards to be a slide stop as well. Last thing I'll say as far as ambi, it comes out of the box with the mag release on the left side, but in the box as well, there's this other one to where you can go ahead and unscrew this with a tiny flathead and then have the flathead be showing on the left side and your mag release will be on the right. The backstrap is interchangeable. This is the one that came out of the box, and I've held this gun, my mom's held this gun, everyone in between with different size hands, and everyone seems to like this. This is the larger one and no one complains about it. But if you wanted a sleeker one, it does have one in the box. You just have to change it out, which is easy to do. You see that little nub right there. It comes with a little tool, press it down, this pops out, and then you get a little thinner one. But like I said, don't imagine you'd be doing that. This one right here is perfect. Out of the box, you get one 10-round mag and one 12-round mag. I certainly prefer the 12-rounder just because the penalty in size is hardly anything, and it's certainly more comfortable. But just to show you, here's the 10-rounder, and it's nice to have the option at least, just so, you know, if you want to run that ever so slightly more compact profile, here's the 10-rounder for you. And again, being double stack, 10 round within this size is nice to see as well. But the reason I prefer the 12, mainly, like I said, the size penalty is not that big. My pinky really doesn't have a place to land right here. Whereas when we go to the 12-rounder, you can see just that little bit of extension. Overall, the silhouette of the gun doesn't change it enough. It barely adds anything here, but my pinky now, 3/4 of my pinky has somewhere to sit, which just makes it so much more comfortable. So I'm probably gonna be using that 12-rounder more often than not. For all you guys who like the nitty-gritty details, I'll give you guys the weight and overall dimensions here, put on the screen as well to make it easy for you guys. It's 19.5 ounces, or the equivalent of 1.22 pounds. It is 6.1 inches in length, 1.12 inches wide, and 4.6 inches tall. So there's the overall dimensions for you, so you can kind of get a little bit of reference as well. This here is my Springfield Armory Hellcat. Now, to be fair, this has got the 13-round mag, and the illusion might appear bigger with the optic there. But even given those variables, the CSX is ever so slightly smaller than the Hellcat. Not by much, but it certainly is. Anyway, just so you guys can kind of get a little bit of reference there, CSX to the Hellcat. This gun has nothing fancy for sights, just 3 white dots, but I did do something super simple on mine just to help me out a little bit. So what I went ahead and did is put a little bit of Sharpie on the rear sights, and while that was still wet, I put a tiny little screwdriver to scratch out the middle part of my rear sights. So I still have 3 white dot, but you know, the backs are just a little bit smaller. That way the contrast on the front is way easier to pick up. I've been doing that on all of my 3 white dot guns, and it certainly helps me out. That way, when I have both eyes open, I don't see like 6 dots. Certainly helps me out. So that's just something I did personally. Smith Wesson set the MSRP on this gun at $609. Street price at the moment, considering it's still a new gun, I am seeing it for a little bit less than MSRP. Budget in for the higher 500s. I'm saying maybe between $585 and $600 should get you a CSX. Last thing I want to do before we hit the range is field strip it for you guys. To do so, you do need a tool or really anything pointy. So more than likely you might have a 5.56 round laying nearby, so that will do the trick. So here's what we do. We go ahead and pull the slide back, and this little nub right here, not the slide stop, but this tinier nub right here needs to line up with right here. So as you do it, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about right there. That right there is nice and lined up. As it's being held there, go ahead and get the pointy end of a round or an Allen key or whatever and poke out this little guy right there. It's not the biggest pain in the butt to do, but certainly I would appreciate it if I didn't have to use a tool of some sort, because I'm trying to hold the tension in the slide while lining it up, and if I don't get it right, then it just takes a little while. All right, so it takes a good amount of pressure, probably because I've only done it maybe 4 or 5 times. But this thing goes flying out. Again, I wish I didn't have to use some kind of a tool or pointy end, but I understand why I have to, because this thing is ambi. So if you want it ambi, that's the way it has to be. So then we'll go ahead and line that up to put it back. But that's the most difficult part, not the end of the world by any means. We go ahead and slide that apart. And traditionally, we have the metal guide rod, which is cool. That comes out, and then the barrel as well. That's just a very adorable barrel. Yeah, so there's that with the 1 in 10 twist, mind you. So we'll go ahead and put that back together. Nice and easy as well. Certainly easier than taking it apart. Again, I've only done it maybe 4 or so times, so I'll get better. From dry firing it, the trigger itself feels, once again, make sure it's empty. Trigger itself feels nice and crisp, single action only. That's nice. It seems like it's only getting lighter as well the more I do dry fire it. Where I see a little something I don't like is the reset. It's got like a little false reset right there. And if I pull it again, nothing happens. You have to let that go all the way out, and then it clicks. I would also like to see a Picatinny rail slot added here for a little micro light. And to do that, I would like to see this kind of boxed out a little bit more. So square that up to have a light butt up right here. And that would be pretty darn cool, just to be able to have this little nightstand gun. And going alongside that, it would be cool to have night sights. At the very least, the front in tritium, or it would be cool to have 3 tritium sights with different color contrasting. That would be the ideal setup, but since we're on the wish list here, why not mention it? So that's it for all of my impressions and what I've noticed without shooting it. So I'll meet you guys at the gun range, and we'll see how it does. All right, first shots with the CSX. Figure out to get the first impressions on video. We're gonna start with the 10-round mag, and we'll just get more comfortable from there. All right, let's try to build confidence with a larger target here. All right, take my time. Well, 3 hits. I'm trying to get it nice and centered. There we go. All right, try to move on over to the swingers here. All right, we got 1 in the chamber. We're gonna go ahead and put our 12 rounder in there, so we got 13 in total now. Oh, I had to miss those 2 there. I think that was low. All right, we're hitting it. It's just not gonna go. Let's start on the top now. I certainly prefer the 12 rounder. It gives me that little bit extra grip, so I don't have to re-grip as often. 12 rounder, all of a sudden feels like it is a much larger gun, but really it's not. Oh, come on. I'm shooting a bit low. All right. High. There we go. All right. I'm overthinking it. Yeah. All right. The more I shoot, the more I'm liking it for sure, though. Low. Oh, left. In fairness to the gun, I'm starting to learn it a little bit better, and I know when it felt really good. All right. Tiny one. All right, all right. How would I got in here? See what it feels like one-handing it. I love missing my last 2 rounds. Yeah, okay, I think I got my impressions all settled up. The CSX is pretty darn cool. It's just me personally. Obviously, handguns are a steep learning curve, perishable skill. I've said that before. And for me, it's not so much the handgun. The handgun feels great. Short sight radius will always be a short sight radius. I think it's on the money whenever I get a good hit. It felt good. So just certainly something to train with. But right out of the box, my first day with it, my first few mags, I'm definitely far better with it than I usually am with a gun of this size. So it feels just as great as I would like. And that false trigger reset actually did not stump me, which I was a little scared of that. With that false reset, I can still mimic it here, but I guess I was aware enough and I just kept hearing it click, and that was more audible. So that didn't stump me, so that's nice. Overall, it's pretty darn cool. I would still love to see like a performance center version with those little requests I said, some night sights, a pick rail, all that cool stuff. But man, out of the box, it's probably my favorite handgun of this size so far. And I'm only going to grow to like it more as I shoot it. But that's a quick review on the CSX. Maybe not too quick. Anyway, you get the point. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.